Alright, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to buy a website domain name and hosting. Okay, so quickly, a website domain name is just the name of the website. Okay, so let me give you an example. So for instance, google.com, this google.com that you see here, this is the domain name. So you have facebook.com, and you have like different types of domain name. You have .org, .net, several types of domain name. Okay, so in order to buy your website domain name and hosting, first you have to choose a company where you're going to buy your website domain name and hosting from. And there are multiple companies that you can buy from. So depending on your country, you can buy from a local company that allows you to pay in your currency. So me, I'm in Nigeria, and if I want to buy by paying in Naira, I have to buy from a local company. Okay, now what you can do if you want to buy a domain name, you can just go to Google and you search buy domain name in, let's say, the country that you're in. Okay, and then you see different companies are going to come up. So you see like this one, you can buy different domain names. Okay, but for me, I like buying from through host.com. So you just use this link. Okay, when you use the link, you go to through host. So I already have it opened here. All right, I created an account. Now when you come to through host, you're going to create an account and verify it. Okay, so make sure that when you're creating an account, you use an email that you have access to, because they might send you a link for verification. So in my case, I've already created my account, so you can see my account here, but I have not bought anything. All right, now the next thing, because we want to buy a domain name and hosting. So hosting is where your website files will be stored and is what allows your website to be online. So the domain name is just how people can locate your website. Let me say it's your address. All right, think of your domain name like the address of your websites. So if you give somebody your address, they can come to your address, but in your house is the hosting. That's where your files are stored. Just like you have your house, you have your chairs, your car, and every other thing. All right, so moving on. After creating your account, the next thing we're going to do is to buy a new hosting, and you can buy hosting for as cheap as 2,500 naira monthly in this company. Okay, so to do that, what we'll do, when you create your account and you come to your dashboard, to buy hosting, you see it under services here. So if you come to service, you see other new service. Click on other new service. All right, now when you come to other new service, you see different categories because there are several types of hosting. Okay, but what you focus on, just focus on this web hosting, and you can see this first one, web hosting starter. So you can see the price here, 2,500 naira monthly. Now what you do is click order now. All right, now when you want to buy the hosting, it will tell you to choose a domain name. So usually if you're building a new site, you're trying to buy a domain name also, but sometimes maybe if you already have a domain name, you can use your existing domain. Okay, but in this case, I'm starting a fresh site, so I'm buying new hosting and I'm buying domain name. So under this register new domain name, you search for the domain you want. Now for a domain, there are different extensions. These are called domain extensions. So you can see them .com, .com.ng. There are a lot of them. There are so many. All right, and each of them has different prices. Okay, so in this case, this is like a demo. So I'll just look for, let's say I want to buy Octane Group. Okay, if I wanted to buy .com and I check, so you can see that it's not even available. But let me say I use something like octanegroup.com. Okay, so you can see now that this is available, and you can see the price here, 10,000 naira. But because this is like a tutorial, I don't want to spend so much money because I'm not going to be using this domain. So the cheapest domain extensions you can buy, if you come here, you can search for .top. .top is one of the cheapest domain you can buy. Okay, so if I select this .top and I check, all right, so you can see now octanegroup.top is available, and you can see the price here. This is like 2,400. Okay, so this is cheap, this is good. So I'll just add to cart. All right, now you see one domain selected. Next thing, I'll click on continue. Okay, so here you see your order summary. So we are buying the web hosting, so you can see it here, web hosting. um Sorry, this web hosting, because this is also a demo. Normally, if you're trying to build a website, you pay for your hosting for 1 year, which is annually. But in this case, I am doing a tutorial, so I want to just pay for monthly. So I'll select monthly. Okay, so you can choose different prices here. All right, so you can see the order summary. We are buying the hosting, which is 25, and then um with the domain too that we bought. Okay, so if I just click on continue, this is for the web hosting. All right, then this is our domain that we selected. So you can see it. Okay, it has hosting because we're also buying hosting. Now you can also buy ID protection. So what ID protection does, if you read it here, it will hide your personal information. Okay, so sometimes when you create an account with a domain company and you want to buy a domain name, if somebody searches publicly, they can be able to see like the name of the person that registered the domain. So if you want to do this, you can, but I'm just going to leave this because this is a demo, and I'll click on continue. All right, now you see review and checkout. Okay, so we are buying the web hosting, which is this for this domain. You can see the price here, 25 monthly, and we are also registering the domain too. Okay, so you can see the price here. Now sometimes if you have promo code, you can put your promo code here. Okay, then you see your billing details. All right, then you scroll down, you choose your payment method. Okay, so I'm paying in Naira, so I can just pay with Paystack. All right, now if you scroll up, you see your order summary here. This is the total amount. Okay, so you just accept terms and click on checkout. Something went wrong. Okay, let me try and reload and see. Okay, so my invoice is still here showing unpaid, so I'll just click pay now. All right, so if I'm paying with Paystack, I can pay with card, I can pay with transfer. Okay, different things. So I'll pay with transfer quickly. Okay. All right, so if you're paying with the transfer, you see the account number, this is the amount. All right, so I just made the transfer from my phone, and you can see that it is already like verifying the payment. Okay, so payment successful. All right, it's still loading, so make sure you don't cancel anything here. Just allow it to load. All right, so you can see order placed successful. So if I continue to my dashboard, which is my client area. Okay, so you can now see I have services, which is hosting, and I have domain. So let's click on the domain here. All right, so this is our domain that we bought, octanegroup.top. You can see it here that it is active, and it will renew in 1 year. Every domain expires after 1 year. Okay, so if we go back to our dashboard, all right, now if we click on services, okay, so you can see the web hosting here. All right, octanegroup.top 25 monthly. You can see that it is active. So that is how to buy your website domain and hosting. So for this our hosting, if we click on it actually, okay, so you can see it here, web hosting active. Now in your web hosting, if you want to log into the panel of your web hosting, when you come here, you just see login to cPanel and you click on cPanel. Okay, so this is our hosting account. This is the control panel, cPanel control panel, and this is where you will manage everything for your website. Okay, so you can see this our domain here. Now if I click on it to view this website, okay, so it seems the website has not really still come online. Okay, yeah, but if you just give it some time, it's meant to come online. But that is how to buy your website domain name and your hosting. All right, so we just learned how to buy a website domain name and hosting using WHOIS, which is a local company, and we paid in Naira. But also sometimes if you don't want to use, let's say, a Nigerian company or a local company, because in my experience, sometimes these companies, they usually give issues and all. So personally, I prefer using foreign companies because most of the time they have better services. Okay, And there are also so many foreign companies that you can use to buy domain name and hosting. But in this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to use Asura hosting. So Asura hosting is what I use sometimes. I use different companies. So to buy your domain and hosting from Asura hosting, first thing you visit this website. Okay, so I already have it open here. You can see it, Asura hosting. I am in my dashboard. Now you create an account and verify it again. Make sure you use an email that you have access to, because they will send a verification email and some other things. Now the next thing is to buy a new hosting. Okay, so when you come to your dashboard here, under services, hosting is usually always under services. You click on order new service. All right, now you see different plans here, you see different categories. So what you do is select web hosting cPanel. All right, we want to use cPanel. Now in web hosting cPanel, you see different plans. So you can see this one that is monthly. All these other ones are annually. Okay, but in this tutorial, I want to pay monthly. Okay, so but usually when you're building a live website, it's better to pay for 1 year. But because I am doing a tutorial, I want to pay for monthly. So I'm going to select this one. You can see it here, 2.99 monthly. Okay, so if I click order now, when you want to buy a hosting, so like we did, we want to buy hosting and domain. So you can also just register a domain here. All right, and previously we bought our domain using WHOIS, which was a local company. All right, and if we come to domains here, my domains. Okay, so this was the domain we bought that we paid in Naira, octanegroup.top. Okay, so if I search for this same domain here, let's say I search for it here. Okay, so you can see that it's not available. That is because I've already bought it. All right, but now let's say if I want to register buy a domain by paying in dollars, if I don't want to use this Nigerian company, okay, all I have to do is the same process we did here, but you just buy it with this foreign company. Okay, so the steps are the same. The process of buying the domain and the hosting. But then another thing you might notice is that the domain prices are different for different companies. So for instance, this domain in this TrueHost that we paid in Naira, we bought it for about 2.5. Okay, but I'm going to show you something. If you want to buy this .stop domain in Asura hosting, so you can see here that it's showing $9, which is basically $10. So one thing that you might notice is that different companies, different hosting companies, different domain companies, most of the time their prices are not the same. Okay, but it is up to you to choose the one that you want. But these are my preferred ones. If I want to buy in Naira, I like using this company. If I want to buy in dollars, I like using this company. I also have other companies I use, but I'm not going to mention them in this tutorial. Okay, so that is how you buy your website domain name and hosting.